from Center for Responsible Business, CRB for short, and we are live on LinkedIn. Today we are talking about family-friendly policies at workplaces. Quickly to bring you up to speed, CRB is hosting 7th edition of its annual flagship conference, India and Sustainability Standards, ISS 2020, from October 28th to 30th. This time it is virtual and just 2 weeks away. The session that we're talking about today is titled Family-Friendly Policies and Apparatus for Business Resilience and Continuity, scheduled on 29th October from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. CRB is co-hosting this session with UNICEF. We have Rijit Sen Gupta, Chief Executive Officer, CRB, and Gitanjali Master, Partnership Specialist, Private and Public Sector Engagement from UNICEF India, to tell us more about the session. Welcome Rijit and Gitanjali. Over to Rijit now.
Thanks a lot, Priyanka, and welcome, Gitanjali. Good morning to you. Welcome to this very interesting conversation that we are doing with some of our key and strategic partners. So thanks, Priyanka, for the overview about the session. But before we get into the session, maybe it might be useful. I mean, everybody is familiar with UNICEF. You guys are doing a great job globally and also in India. But maybe if you can introduce UNICEF to some, or reintroduce UNICEF in terms of its activities and vision in India, specifically on the area of child rights. So if you can tell our friends here who've joined us on this session about UNICEF's work in that area, specifically in India. Gitanjali.
Thanks, Rijit, and thanks, Priyanka. Delighted to be part of this conversation this morning. UNICEF actually has been working in India for 70 years to promote and protect the rights of children across India. We work to improve the lives of children and their families. That's the mandate. We work across the spectrum of survival, protection, and development of children, as that's integral to human progress. We are committed to working with the most marginalized, the most vulnerable children in India. We also work during emergencies to support the government. Through our programs, one of the key facets that we focus on is also the promotion of the rights of women and girls, adolescent girls, and to support their full participation in different spheres. And we work in India with and across spectrums of health, WASH, which is water and sanitation, hygiene, nutrition, child protection, child education, and we work with partners across different spheres. Of course, the private sector also being one of the key partners, all towards the attainment of the sustainable development goals.
Sure, thanks a lot, Gitanjali. I think there's a bit of a issue with your voice. So if you can raise your voice a little bit, maybe that will be great.
Sure. So give me a second, Rijit. Let me just put on my headphone. Maybe that will help.
Yeah. No worries. Take your time.
Yeah. Let's hope it's better now.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a little better.
Is it better now, Rijit?
Yeah, much better. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
very much.
Okay.
So thanks for that overview,
No
and
worries.
for our audience and for friends here on this live session to know about UNICEF's work, specifically on the area of child rights. Priyanka talked about the family-friendly policies initiative, which is something that UNICEF has been working on globally, and you are now bringing that concept to India. And of course, CRB is extremely honored and delighted to be working with UNICEF on this interesting work that you are trying to do here. So there are two parts to my next question. The first part is to maybe for you to give an overview of what does family-friendly policies mean for UNICEF and generally speaking. And the second part is, about the timing of the application, and that you are bringing this and initiating this initiative or activity in India. Why do you feel that the family-friendly policies framework is going to be extremely useful in balancing business resilience with, let's say, community resilience or resilience in society. So if you can answer the first question and
Yes,
then move on to the
absolutely.
second one. Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you, Rijit. So, on the first one, family-friendly policies are typically defined as those that help to reconcile work and family life. And UNICEF does adopt a child lens with regard to the definition of family-friendly policies, explicitly sort of acknowledging that these are outcomes for children. We do expand the criteria for family-friendly policies, you know, looking at two facets. And I would like to share these two facets with you. The first is to sort of positively impact workers' employabilities to sort of reconcile work and family responsibilities in order for them to be obviously more productive, in order for them to be more being able to deliver better, obviously then it works out better for the business. And the second facet, which is critical, is to advance the well-being and development of their children, right? And I think it's not ever one or the other. It's both these facets equally that have to be sort of looked at. And both these facets, really, I would like to mention, really benefit, if I may say, both businesses as well as employees. Healthier workforce, their families being healthy, taken care of, result in higher productivity, better delivery, and also therefore sustainable businesses. And of course, a global review which has encompassed low and middle income countries, similarly sort of acknowledges the benefits of these policies for children, which is the second facet I spoke to you about, which is, for example, paid parental leave can make sort of important contributions to sustainable development goals, outcomes for health, well-being of children and parents. And, we've also seen that paid parental leave has been associated with a reduced sense of child mortality, low birth weight, higher rates of breastfeeding, and so on. Also, in many cases, fewer instances of child abuse. So I think that's really the part that I would talk about as far as the framework is concerned. And obviously, the framework has dimensions of time, resource, space, infrastructure around these policies and how we can build around them. Now, coming to your second part, Rijit, which is about strengthening business resilience, in the times that we are, and how family-friendly policies can play a significant role there. We all understand that COVID-19 has created unprecedented situations. The results and the impacts are being felt around the world. There's so much disruption related to education, childcare, family illnesses, and parental loss of household incomes. So obviously, that is felt, that is understood, that is known. So UNICEF has been working with partners, on family-friendly policies and offers a framework that can enable companies, as we see it, to deal with this uncertainty by improving labor productivity and ensuring continuity of business operations. And how that would be happening, how we actually see that framework focusing on childcare. While we see it focusing on childcare, each dimension of the framework also translates into information which enhances health and safety compliance, morale of workers. It makes the workplace more agile to change and innovate. By investing in family-friendly policies before a crisis hits, businesses can actually build resilience by establishing structures that can be adapted to changing contexts, which is really where we are today, and cushion unexpected sort of disruptions that appear. The important thing that I'd like to mention, Rijit, is also about building back better. When building back better, businesses can prioritize workers' health, well-being as one of the key business continuity strategies. And finally, by giving working parents the time, the information, the services, the resources they need to cope with crisis, family-friendly policies and practices can make critical difference.
Yeah, thanks for that overview. I mean, I think two, 3 points here. The first is that, of course, there is a fair bit of literature and practice already showing that companies and businesses that were able to, of different size, which were able to retain, their workers and were able to deal with them and engage with them better during this the pandemic and the ensuing lockdown were also the ones who sprung back, to operation much better than the others. So that's definitely, if we, given what you just said, it is evident that this framework really helps companies in retaining workers and ensuring that all kinds of workers, men and women, are able to be integrated into business in such a way that trust and confidence, mutual trust and confidence, get reinforced. So that's and that should, I mean, from in principle, this sounds to be absolutely, this is exactly what businesses should be doing going forward. The other issue is that, of course, occupational health and safety is no more part of the social license to operate. It is now part of the legislative license to operate. It's absolutely, it is mandatory for companies to have that kind of, strong and robust systems to have, safety and hygiene of workers protected. Especially, that's uh, uh, one of the things that have become very clear from the pandemic and post-pandemic, working conditions are, it's part of all the SOPs that have been called out. So,
Yeah.
given that we, in a sense, to what you just said in terms of the framework and its application, it's really a no-brainer that companies should start to at least engage and understand, how this framework would help them.
Yes.
Um, can you also envisage, from businesses perspective, uh, what could be some of the areas where there might be some challenges, or where, as organizations either like UNICEF or CRB as a partner, we will need to focus our attention on? Anything that comes to your mind?
It's not always easy from also the perspective of some social norms, social cultural norms, which are very strongly embedded. It's also very much related about that, and I also think that many a time it becomes a normative issue, Rigid. One is, of course, the challenge related to, in front of you, the ability to be able to continue the business from a resource point of view. But the other is also from a mindset point of view. And now I'm also talking about the facet of gender. Many
Mm,
women, and especially in the informal sector,
mm,
their ability to be able to build that credibility, build that, for businesses to engage with these, to engage with women workforce and to ensure that they're given a chance also while looking after their children's needs, their children's or their newborns requirements, and yet being able to go ahead and deliver. It needs a mindset shift as well. Yeah. And
right.
I think that is really something that, so while of course we all know about the tangible common challenges in front of us, we also have to be very cognizant that we collectively have to work towards a situation where we address some of the stereotypes, focus on them because of the reasons that you just mentioned prior to this question, where you said it really is about, it really is a no-brainer,
Mm,
giving and having trusted longer term low absenteeism related workforce is always going to be beneficial for the business in the long term, and
yes,
it's going to
absolutely.
enable them to build back better. So I wanted to highlight this dimension of some stereotypes that exist and those that need to be addressed with, of course, in addition to
Sure.
the regular
Sure.
challenges.
And I think, just taking a leaf from what you just said, I think as society and as stakeholders, we also need to build that ecosystem in
Yes.
which businesses are able to do that, create that kind of environment within their premises,
Yes.
and therefore the role of the government, for example, becomes very critical.
Yes.
The role of industry associations become very critical. the role of civil society organizations and organizations which work with both these communities of businesses and the workers become very, very important. So this cannot happen in isolation. Is
Absolutely
what
not. Yes.
is very, very while the focus will be the business and engaging with business, but
Yes.
one would also need to work in the ecosystem to create that enabling ecosystem for
Yes.
this to function. Great, and these are some things I believe you will be talking about in the session
Yes.
at the conference, Gitanjali. So maybe some of your thoughts on how you are looking at it and what are you expecting to achieve from that conversation.
So I think, I think that conversation and at the outset, let me just say that we are truly excited to be partnering with CRB for this conference, but not just for the conference, the journey that we're taking together. And I think I'm going to go back, Rijit, to the point that you raised in terms of um, uh, it's almost like a family-friendly policy. It's like a movement that we want to create
Sure.
together, and a
Yes.
movement can never
Yes.
happen with one actor alone.
Yes.
It's all of us coming
Absolutely.
together. So I think the entire premise for UNICEF developing this session with CRB is really it's very heartening that we have been able to join hands to understand the opportunity, the challenges in operationalizing family-friendly policies in the apparel and textile sector in India. And I think that's what I would hope the session is able to do,
Right.
to really listen in from the different stakeholders, to be able to co-create potential solutions against the challenges that are coming through. Also, the objective is really to see how businesses can actually work in the best possible way to implement family friendly policies in this sector, while ensuring that all different stakeholders are coming together. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
one of the last things on this particular point that we're very keen to do is to propel inclusive and sustainable businesses,
Yes.
as a key component sort of to build back better agenda
Absolutely. Yeah.
post COVID-19. But this
Absolutely.
also aligns, Rijit, very well with the tenets of self-reliant India, which is being followed by the government of India
Yes.
currently across all industries. And I
Absolutely.
think this point that you mentioned about, working closely, this is really the ethos that the government is also, focusing. And I think it marries really well
Yes.
within the industry to work together towards it. So I think the session will be a very,
So
very key stepping stone, if I may say, or a milestone for us to be able to start the dialogue.
right, and I think we've the way we've designed it together. We are going to be able to have those stakeholders, the ones who are very, very important to be part of it. And just a footnote here, I think also it will give us an opportunity to scan the industry and see maybe some of this is already happening. Maybe
Absolutely.
some of those good practices are already there. Uh, they have not been documented, they have not been presented, they have not been studied.
Yes.
And I think as I said, I think the timing is critical.
Yes.
We are doing this. We are part of this work that we are doing together at a particular time. So I think this is the right opportunity that we have, and we are very grateful, and we are also super excited to be working with UNICEF and you and your team, Gitanjali. So thanks for that opportunity. And the last point also is for businesses. What we are seeing is that there is also a fair bit of traction happening globally towards sustainable and inclusive business. You would know that there is this deployment of capital which is happening, which is unprecedented.
Yes.
The Global Investors for Sustainable Development Alliance, which was formed last year, holds capital up to about 16 trillion US dollars, and they're saying it will go up to about 2025 by the end of this year. So there are investors already,
Yes.
who are looking for such businesses which sort of tick those boxes, as you said, of sort of taking going that extra mile to see how they can also sort of not only build back better, they're now saying recover better. So
Yes.
so absolutely, I think these are some areas which we are also very keen to sort of highlight to the wider, industry and also the government, that here is an opportunity for us
Yes.
to move forward. And from the session, I think we will definitely get a lot of lessons, some of these issues, and and the team has already been working in that direction.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much for this. I think the last point would be, we are also very delighted to have your resident representative, Dr. Huq, who would be part of the conference.
Yes.
So I'm sure she would also be talking about some of these issues, about the global experiences,
Yes.
and really putting it on the agenda on the inaugural day.
Yes. In fact, Dr. Huq is extremely excited, Bridget, to be part of this, and also, I think the vision that she has led, and has been leading UNICEF in India is really about nurturing partnerships, co-creating sort of meaningful solutions with business partners, and really incorporating some of these policies within their businesses, value chains, in a constructive and a collaborative way together. So that's really the idea. And I think we look forward to this journey. As you rightly said, this is a journey. There are going to be multiple milestones, and we look forward to this journey with you.
Sure, absolutely. Great, and great talking to you. And
Lovely.
it is indeed, a journey, and we are just beginning this journey.
Yes.
So for our audience, CRB together with UNICEF is initiating this conversation, and we are also looking at a long-term engagement on this issue together, and we welcome all the different stakeholders who would like to be part of this initiative to do write to us, and we would be very happy to have a conversation with you. So thank you very much, Gitanjali, and
it's been a
pleasure talking to you. And over to Priyanka for your concluding remarks, Priyanka.
Thank you, Rajat and Gitanjali, for being with us and for that informative discussion. And for our audience, do share the session details with your colleagues and friends. We hope to see you at ISS joining the session and the conference. Have a great day.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Rajat.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day. Bye.